So we're gonna deal with some controversy over the VTuber awards, or the VTuber of the Year award, with Burnt Peanut. Now, this award is, of course, the streamer awards take place once a year, held by QT Cinderella, and one of the categories is, of course, the streamer awards for QT Cinderella and her friends are basically a chance for her and her friends to get together and stroke each other's egos. And one of the categories is VTuber of the Year. Now, it's kind of a tokenized category since it just, basically just does that. It's a stool in the corner for the basin, basically. So, Burnt Peanut, a guy who he doesn't consider himself a VTuber, has this kind of like running joke where he said, oh, he doesn't like VTubers, and he has this running joke. He said, oh, vote for me for VTuber of the Year and win it, and it'd be so fun. We can piss off the VTubers, specifically to piss off VTubers. And that's exactly what he did. He won, and he pissed off half of them. Half the fans, half the VTubers. Iron Mouse and half of them didn't care. Half of them didn't care and kind of supported it and were like, oh, okay, fine. And Iron Mouse was like, yeah, he's a VTuber, he deserved it, kind of thing. And the other half were like saying that he's not a VTuber. It's kind of dumb that he won VTuber of the Year when he's not a VTuber. He doesn't consider himself one. He uses a 3D model with a face filter, but he's basically a VTuber. He just doesn't consider himself one. And so where was I? Right. So, and they basically, a lot of VTubers were pointing out that the streamer awards was basically a joke. And Kitsu made a post, and as soon as she made the post, it had 9 million impressions in within a few hours, 8 or 9 hours. And she got a lot of comments from Burnt Peanut fans or people who like Burnt Peanut and were like, oh, you deserve it. You deserve to have it stolen from you. We took it. You VTubers are mentally ill. I'm glad someone with actual talent took it. You guys have no talent at all. You're just upset that your favorite 50-year-old man who's using a voice changer didn't win the favorite VTuber of the Year award. Basically, I don't know how many of them were Burnt Peanut fans exactly. I know a lot of them they're all normies, though, using it as a chance to dunk on VTubers in general. And because they hate them. They're disgusted and hate VTubers in general. Why? They're normies. They despise things that are kind of outside their comfort zone. And they consider this cringe and cringe-inducing, and consider people who like VTubers or who have VTuber models to be like pedos and call them pedos all the time. And I've seen quite a few posts say about how they should off all VTubers. That's, that's rough. That's Hassan level of acting, which is gross. Why would you ever want to copy him or his fans? They're by far the most disgusting people you could copy. But I don't know. I know Burnt Peanut himself doesn't like VTubers. I don't think he hates them to the same degree a lot of these other people do. I think this is a very poor reflection upon him personally. It's not necessarily his fault, but I do think it's a poor reflection. These fans are a very poor reflection upon him. Now, of course, he's not this kind of politically woke guy, and I like that about him. I like that he's not this politically woke person. But I do think that, having this kind of fan base that does this is really not a good look. It really isn't. And I don't think it's a good thing in general. How many bridges do you burn, for what? For what reason? I heard someone say that the reason Burnt Peanut doesn't like VTubers is because they're very treacherous and they stab each other in the back all the time. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't remember even if that's actually accurate enough to remember exactly that quote. Take it with a grain of salt. But he himself doesn't consider himself a VTuber, and a lot of people, some people that even do like Burnt Peanut, think that it shouldn't necessarily have been labeled a VTuber because he himself doesn't consider that. I don't necessarily know if I think there's just some weird spite that people have with VTubers. They're normies, they don't like it, I guess, and that's one of the reason VTuber fans and VTubers in general kind of gatekeep, is because of the fact that these people they're normies that are just acting crazy. These are just normie people, and they're acting crazy. They're acting like Hassan, They're acting like Hassan fans. It's so silly. It's so goofy in so many respects. And all Kitsu did was kind of make the point of how it was a joke. The Streamer Awards was a joke, and how she obviously didn't like the fact that Burnt Peanut became VTuber of the Year when he himself doesn't consider himself a VTuber, which he's said repeatedly, even though he kind of technically is. And then you have all these comments from people, saying those things. And I think had he said, "Oh, I am a VTuber, I consider myself one," he would have been considered a VTuber amongst the rest of the VTuber community. They would have accepted him with open arms. But of course he didn't want that. But he deliberately separated himself from them. That was his own choice. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's the only difference for him becoming a VTuber or not, is that he deliberately separated himself from them. So other than that, there's not too much difference. And wow, it just blows my mind sometimes. I mean, we obviously see that QT Cinderella is like this type of person who's like, she'll like defend Hassan shocking his own dog, but she will like think that these VTubers are disgusting people who she doesn't like. I'm like, okay, sure, I guess you're like, oh, I don't, that's like, she likes to she's okay for her to mock them, but God forbid if anyone mocks Hassan. She can mock him, but she can mock her friends. She's not this moral, virtuous person. A lot of her and her friends and like Ludwig are these treacherous people that backstab each other even more. Don't get me wrong, everyone backstabs each other to every degree in every kind of field, IRL streaming, gaming streaming. There's no limit to that. They're just people. VTubing is no different. And some say that, Peanut has actual talent, while some VTubers don't. There are VTubers who have bigger audiences than him, there are VTubers who have 1 million followers on X, and Peanut has, 100,000? Zentreya alone has 500,000 followers on X. She's one of the most viewed VTubers of all time. So, I don't think it's I think there's a lot of fighting that's unnecessary, and I think there's a lot of really acting out and really just using the time to bash and using it as ammo against it. There is a tweet I wanted to pull up here specifically. This was kind of summarize the point good and kind of finish it off. This is by Dark, and it says, "I hard agree with Momo here. Most of the big VTubers are showing their true colors here. Corporate bootlickers who'd rather lick the boots of a troll than defend the space that made them rich. Peanut didn't win anything. He grifted an award. His chat called every VTuber a pedo for half a year, and when he finally crashed the trophy, he said on stream, 'I'm not a effing VTuber, this is hilarious.' Where's the respect? That's a public execution of your entire medium. While the top talents clap and say, 'Ooh woo, so awesome, don't be salty guys.' Iron Mouse and the rest aren't taking the high road. They're paid to be walking public relations statements. And controversy hurts the bag, so they throw indies and small corpos under the bus to keep the normies and sponsors happy. This wasn't a prank, it was a raid. Dude brought his entire 12-year-old art horde in. They shat on the category, shat on the fans, shat on the talents, and walked out with the prize. And the response from the people with the actual power in the space is, hee, just be happy for him. Nah, if you let someone walk into your house, pee on your floor, and steal your stuff, while you smile and say, 'No negativity, please, you don't have a house anymore, you have a public toilet.' VTubing is already on thin effing ice with the mainstream. Letting this slide just proved every stereotype they already believed, that it's all fake, cringe, and not worth respecting. Congrats, you just handed the ammo to every future troll who wants to farm clips by ratioing the younger indies into quitting." Now, I think that's a perfect statement to kind of outline this whole thing and this whole situation. I think the way a lot of these Burnt Peanut fans are acting, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and I don't know if they're all Burnt Peanut fans or if they're just a lot of people, not of normies, who are just dogpiling onto VTubers in general because they have the chance to. It might be that. But I think if it is a lot of, if these are actually a lot of Burnt Peanut fans, I think it reflects very, very poorly on Burnt Peanut, and I don't think he deserves that. I think he makes, sometimes edgy jokes. He's not a big political or a politically correct kind of guy, which is cool and everything. But I do think that the fans are going to be a big reflection on the streamer himself. And I think that's kind of true with a lot of audiences. You see people like Asmongold, you see his audience, and you see Hassan and his fans. Now think about this. The people that are acting against VTubers right now, that are bashing them, are acting like Hassan fans. Anyway, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about. I will, that's all I want to talk about. Anyway, see ya.